What's good, people? Thank you for tuning to Total Payout Podcast, chilling with your host, Trouble. Today's date, April 22nd, 2026. Got two games on deck in the NBA today. Great day, man. Good games today. Got some good games today. We got Orlando versus Detroit. Then we got Phoenix versus OKC. We're going to go ahead and throw two prop bets in there. It's a light NBA schedule, so we're going to go ahead and add two prop bets to the slate today to kind of get a couple more bets in. So let's go ahead and start with handicapping game one, which is going to be Orlando versus Detroit. Obviously, we got Orlando stunning Detroit game one. That was a great game. Orlando did cover the spread and money line Detroit, so Orlando is up 1-0 in the series. Now head to head last 10, Orlando 7-3 straight up last 10. Orlando 6-4 against the spread last 10, and the over is 6-4 last 10. Now Orlando is 5-2 against the spread last 7, 9-4 against the spread last 13 versus Detroit, 6-1 against the spread versus Central last 7, and 19-23 against the spread away overall from home. Now Detroit 10-5 against the spread last 15, 2-5 against the spread last 7 versus Southeast Division, which is the division that Orlando is a part of, and then they're 4-2 against the spread last 6 on Wednesdays, and 21-21 against the spread at home overall. Now my personal line in this game is Detroit -5. Vegas opened up again with 8.5, -8.5 Detroit. I'm gonna go ahead and roll with Detroit in this game for get back. Obviously, we know Orlando coming in off of the losing versus the Philly and then beating Charlotte in the play-in tournament, so they were kind of warm. They didn't have any layoff. Detroit had almost a week off, so I think Detroit was kind of rusty that game. Not saying Orlando wouldn't have beat them anyway, but I think Detroit was rusty. They only had two starters in double figures, Tobias Harris and Cade Cunningham. I expect their other starters to actually step up. They let their team down, a couple bench players. I actually expect the bench to get cut short a little bit. I think he played too many players. I think it's the playoffs, man. You got maybe one or two people got to get sacrificed off the bench. I don't know who. I think defense for offense, because you need to get more offense out of your starting lineup. So I think you need to bring more defense off the bench more than anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with Detroit for get back. I know they haven't won a home game in a long time in the playoffs. So I think they need that fans to show up, and they need to go ahead and satisfy those fans with a win tonight. Now in this game, we're gonna stick to the player props in this game. So we're gonna take Jalen Duren over 28.5 points plus rebounds. My man showed up last game. He had 8.7 rebounds. That's way under his averages this season. So I expect him, number one, to be the person that shows up. I expect him to show up in the first half with a big first half. And because Wendell Carter Jr. outplayed him bad. So I expect him to show up more than anybody in this game, to pay his team back and pay it forward and show up. So we're gonna take him over 28.5 points plus rebounds. He averages 30 points plus rebounds a game this season. So combined, he averaged 30. He averaged 30 points and rebounds the last 10 games. He's averaged about 30. So he's been kind of teetering at his average for the season. His last 10 games. I think it was a one-off game, man. Being lazy, underestimating Orlando's will, and underestimating Orlando's want to go out there and win that game. He is 6-4 over the last 10. His rebounds and assist prop. But like I say, this is not necessarily a play on his averages or a play on what he's done his last 10. This is a play based on zagging based on his last game, man. He was horrible his last game. I'm sure he knows that. So I expect him to want to come out and play big, and that's why I'm jumping all over that. Now, Jalen Duren over 28.5 points plus rebounds. Now, also, we're going to stay in this game as well for the other prop. We're going Cade Cunningham over 9.5 assists. Cade was probably the only player who showed up last game on the points part. He had about over 30, I think 32 points in that game. I think Tobias came in with like 17. Everybody else was under 10. I expect him to be the overall natural point guard, go out there, try to get 10 plus assists, get everybody else involved, because that game was indicative to how I think Detroit does not want to play. Okay, Cunningham putting up 30 plus, and then everybody else not showing up and them losing. So I think when they look at the tape, he needs to get 10 plus assists for his team to be successful in this game. I know he's averaging 9.8 assists per game this season. His last 10, he's averaging 9.7, so per game, and his last 10, he's averaging around that. He had 4 assists his last game, 32 points. I think they want to flip that. A good Cade Cunningham game with a great Detroit Pistons game would be about 25 with about 12 assists, was what I see him getting in this game. So I do expect him to go over that 9.5 assist prop this game. So now let's go ahead and handicap the second game. We got Phoenix versus OKC. Slaughterhouse OKC 1-0 in this series. Beat them down game one. Last 10 OKC 8-2 straight up last 10. OKC 7-3 against the spread last 10. The over is 7-3 last 10. Now Phoenix is 2-8 against the spread last 10. 3-9 against the spread last 12 versus OKC. Phoenix is 1-5 against the spread last 6 away from home. 2-5 against the spread last 7 versus the West. And 24-18 away from home against the spread overall this season. Now OKC 5-2 against the spread last 7. OKC 6-2 against the spread last 8 versus the West, and they're 4-1 against the spread last 5 versus the Pacific, which is the Pacific Division, which is where Phoenix is located as far as their play for the season. Now OKC is also 20-23 against the spread at home overall. Now my personal line, I have OKC -10. The Vegas line -17.5 OKC, so they're eating some points in this game. It's kind of tough, man, because Phoenix looked bad that first game. Obviously, we know they got in off of beating on an inexperienced, not inexperienced, but a Warriors team who were older. But I think they met their match. I think this is probably the most lopsided. This is the most lopsided 1-8 matchup. This matchup period in the playoffs. This is the most lopsided matchup. I think OKC has the advantage of watching the other teams lose. Detroit, watching Denver get beat. I just think watching those teams get beat kind of will heighten the sense of a team like OKC. We don't need that. So I don't think OKC will come out here and look at Phoenix in game two after drubbing them in game one and give them any type of breathing room. I think they're going to come out and jump over them even more. One, because now they have a one-up. San Antonio lost, Denver lost. So now it's like if you sweep this team, we probably get an extra 2 or 3 days rest. That's the type of mentality that I think OKC has and wants to have in this game. Seeing how they coasted the regular season, why not go ahead and get ahead of these teams that we're seeing playing with their food in the other series? So give me OKC -17.5 in this game, man. I don't see Phoenix hanging around. I see OKC getting up on them again first half, 20 plus, and then coasting for the rest of the game and covering that 17 in the hook. Now let's go ahead and recap the games that we had today. We got Detroit at home, lost game one. I expect get back game two -8.5. I expect the other players, the auxiliary players to K Cunningham to show up. Once, like I said, Jalen Duren, Thompson. I expect those type of players to show up this game. And then we have the prop bet of Jalen Duren over 28.5 points plus rebounds. I expect him to show up. I expect a 20-10 game from him, if not more than 20, more than 10 rebounds. I expect a monster Jalen Duren game. I expect him to go out there and try to make an example out of Wendell Carter Jr. because Wendell Carter Jr. showed up game one and showed out. So he has to show up and show out in order for Detroit to have a chance to go 1-1 going into Orlando. And then we got K Cunningham dishing it out, setting the table for a Jalen Duren, setting the table for a Thompson, setting the table for a Duncan Robinson, setting the table for a Tobias Harris, and going over 9.5 assists per this game right here. Like I say, he averages 9.8 per game. His last 10, 9.7. Last game he had 32 points. I don't think that was a good game of what K Cunningham. If he goes over 30, that's because they beat Orlando down and he did his thing both sides. But I do expect him to go out there and set the table for his teammates. Seeing that they had bad games, and that is his role to go out there and get other players in the spots. And then the final pick, we got OKC -17.5 against the Phoenix Suns. This is a lopsided series. Phoenix just happy to be here at this point. Not saying any other team that had a chance of getting there before Phoenix would have been able to go ahead and give OKC any type of run for their money, but I just don't think Phoenix is a team that has what it takes to beat the OKC in this type of environment. So once again, I want to thank you guys tuning in. Total Payout Podcast, chilling with your host Trouble. Today's day, April 22nd, 2026. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe at the end of this video. I do appreciate it. Appreciate you guys giving me a couple minutes of your day today. It's a great Wednesday, man. It's a great Wednesday. We got 2 games on today, light schedule, but they come in pockets where we can watch one game and then get to the next game. So like I always say, man, you guys please stay out the way, be safe. Thank you.
Hey, Rick and Thad.